recommend that the very first thing that you lay down on the resume is a summary. I happen to call it an executive summary. You can call it whatever you want. Here is where you want to really nail your value proposition or your so what. This is where you present the best of you, the aggregate of what you can bring to an employer, the overall stuff that you're the most proud of, that you know really you shine at. And again, you attempt to speak directly to the skills and strengths that you feel are going to be most relevant to your target market. You don't have to pick 10 things. Pick 4 or 5. Think about what your target market's going to be interested in and tell your story. Next, your core proficiencies. This is a great section. It's the perfect place for you to lay in some of these keywords into the resume so that the applicant tracking system can find you. This section also makes it really easy for someone reviewing your resume to take a really quick skim and see right on that first page what you're good at and what you know how to do. What do you put in here? Things like project management, client relations, machine design, search engine optimization, social media, and so forth. That's your core proficiencies. Look at the job descriptions that you pulled earlier in the preparation stage if you are struggling to think about what you want to put here. And take a look at the ones that repeat across multiple job descriptions. And then assuming you know how to do some of these things, that's what you want to lay in here. Next, I usually lay in professional experience. If you've had internships or jobs through college or even major projects through your college years, put them in this section in reverse chronological order. And then craft a few bullet points under each of these that you feel speak very directly and will be very appealing to your future employer. Again, you're not laying out all of your jobs and responsibilities. You're laying out the so what, and you're thinking about your target market. Talk to the target audience. That's the biggest goof people make. If your only job was 10 months working at Target, say, part-time, you can still showcase the skills that you acquired and the demands of that position in a way that would relate to your future employer if it's outside of the part-time retail world. Maybe you were awesome at dealing with the angry customers. That's going to get you everywhere in your career. Maybe you were commended for your super organizational skills. Or maybe you were lauded because you were always willing to work the crappy shifts that nobody wanted to work. These are actually marketable skills. They speak to your work ethic. They speak to your abilities and how you're going to perform in the future. You're going to want to be succinct. You're going to want to showcase your accomplishments. Just don't list out duties and responsibilities. That's what your competition is doing. They're writing things that look like I could just pull a job description and their resume is the same difference. You want to go one step further and say, here's what I did, or here's what I do, comma, and here's the result, or here's the significance. Here's why you should care. Every word on your resume really needs to earn its spot on your resume. So don't waste that square footage. All right, moving on. Education. You guys are about to, or some of you I understand, have just received a really good degree. You should be very proud of what you are about to accomplish or what you have accomplished. So you're going to want to showcase that. You could put it right up at the top. Depending on what field you're going into, if you know that your degree here from TCU is going to be very impressive to the field that you're going into, go ahead and put that up at the top. Show it off. And since and if you earn an excellent GPA, in my opinion, 3.5 or better is absolutely an excellent GPA. Put that on there. And then finally, I'd showcase any community work you've done, volunteer work, any significant certifications or projects, anything that might help a reviewer get a clearer picture of you. You can create additional sections at the bottom of your resume. But again, nothing controversial, nothing TMI personal. But again, if your activities and honors are going to help tell the story of who you are to your target market, for sure, put them in there. And then voila, your ridiculously awesome resume draft is complete. Because I don't have a ton of time today, I'm not going to talk at length about your resume review. Don't take that as a sign that I don't think the resume review process is critical. Review, review, review. This is my whole section on review. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it again. Okay, that's it. Make sure everything is spelled correctly. Make sure your sections are consistent. I see this a lot. If you hyphenate a word up at the top of the resume and then use that same resume further on down and you don't hyphenate it, or if you use a semicolon for one sentence type up here and the very next time you have the same sentence type and you're using a colon or a period, maybe you've got bullet points, some of them have periods, some of them don't. You want to go through your resume very carefully to make sure that you've got consistency. This has to make sense. Page breaks need to make sense. Headers need to be consistent. That's enough on that. Allow me to share some very common things that I see with frequency among job seekers. And these are things that can turn a potentially awesome resume into a dud very quickly. Number one, old school formats. Worse, Microsoft resume wizard templates. Do you know what I think about when I see these things? I think about 2001. Seriously, I envision that you're sitting at your Microsoft 98 on your dial-up. Maybe you're watching Felicity or Dawson's Creek or something. I see behind the times. I see someone who maybe is not very technologically savvy. I don't see progressive. I don't even see current. A simple Word formatted resume with consistent fonts, white space, and clean bullet points, that'll do it for me. Just don't let an outdated format give me the wrong impression about you. Number two, formatting inconsistencies, and we've just talked a little bit about this. It just hurts my eyes when I see this. Be consistent in what you put in bold, what you italicize. Use consistency in your font sizing. Assuming you're using bullet points, make them the same size and the same style. I don't want to see a maze of dashes and dots and arrows and lightning bolts and all this craziness on your resume. Just make sure it's nice and clean and easy for me to read. And the final thing to avoid at all costs is, again, the grammatical inconsistencies. This is very, very common on resumes. It makes you look careless, mostly because you are careless. So check, check, check. Consistency on your resume is truly king.